Good morning, this is Scott with Lochte Feed General Store. I'm here with Jeff and Janice. They're going to talk to you a little bit about protein supplementation. We appreciate you guys watching.
Hello, I'm Janice, and I am the Retail Performance Specialist here at Lochte Feed General Store. And you may have noticed a lot of the new displays that we have out. I took on a role this year with Purina, and I'm the one who's been putting the displays together for you. We've got a lot of nice ones out this year, and I'm hoping you're enjoying them. If you have questions about them, please ask. Any questions that you have, today I'm with Jeff Prokop here. He is our Purina sales specialist, and we're going to be talking about different types of protein. We're going to be answering questions today. We've got several people that have written down questions, and we'll be answering them.
Great, Janice. Well, thanks for having me. Janice has done a great job over the last several months, and many of you have probably seen a lot of the displays, product on display there in the store around the counter. Maybe even brought you some things that you didn't realize that Purina offered, or maybe even that you didn't realize Lochte Feed even offered. So again, Janice has done a great job of trying to get those products out in front of customers and try to answer questions along the way. So we are here to discuss a little bit about protein and energy supplementation for your livestock. We're going to focus predominantly kind of on cattle, but we can also kind of cover some things, and we have some questions even regarding sheep and goats. And Janice, the rains that we just received over the past week have really been extremely timely. Before that, we were kind of on about a 2 to 3 week stretch when we were kind of getting into our normal summer dry weather pattern and heat, and obviously forage quality was starting to kind of dwindle, and these recent rains will kind of freshen things up, at least temporarily. So the moisture that we've received this year in the 13 years that I've lived here in the hill country have really been about as timely as they could be from a summer forage growing perspective. The moisture that we received kind of in mid to late May, and now this kind of moisture here in the middle of June has certainly probably set us up for one of the better situations that we've had in many years. But again, trying to match protein and energy supplementation with varying forage quality really is a challenge, because this stuff is in a constant state of change. So again, our forage quality over the next week may be quite a bit different than it was 2 weeks ago. And it'll continuously change throughout the summer as those forages go through maturity. They'll obviously kind of become less in terms of protein and total digestible nutrients. So trying to match forage quality not only along with cows' needs at the time, whether you have cattle that are lactating or cows that are dry and in early to mid gestation. So that is truly a challenge for us, and that's really Purina's goal with our Accurash and IM Tech type products, is to try to provide a supplement that can be used 365 days a year. And depending on forage quality, the cow and her rumen microbes will actually tell her, does she need some more protein? Does she need some more energy? She'll use that supplement. And then in times when forage quality is very good, like we may have right now, she may not even consume any of that supplement. So truly, that's kind of some of the research and the goal of Purina is trying to match the protein and energy supplement with the varying forage quality. We've got a couple of supplements here just to point out as we kind of get started on answering some of the questions. The tub that we have here in front of me is called our Purina Accurash and High Fat tub. It is also available in a block type form, in a cardboard type block form, and then it is also available. There's a Accurash and High Fat sheep and goat tub. It's a purple tub that maybe some of you have seen. And just to kind of point out, this product is more of a brownie type consistency, and you may notice kind of some of these specks in here. That's actually the high fat nugget, Janice, that helps relate to body condition and getting cows to cycle and those kind of things. But this product is very different in that cattle may, again, eat none of it, or at times when forage quality is poor, they may be eating a pound to 2 pounds if they're in lactation. That cow may be needing to eat 2.5 pounds of the product. So this product is a little bit different than what we have here, and this is more of your traditional cook tub. So in the production of a cook tub, Janice, they actually cook that molasses to boil off the water, and then it'll actually set up in a hard candy type form. So you can see here it's very difficult to push that knife in there, and consumption is strictly limited by the hardness of that product. So cows will lick at that product and kind of wick away at the top layer, but again, consumption is truly dictated based on the hardness of the product. It's very palatable, but again, just due to that hardness. So typically we may see a cow eating a half to 3/4 to maybe a pound a day of a supplement like that. Again, there may be times when she actually can't consume enough of that product to really bridge the gap with poor quality forage. And in some cases, guys that use cook tubs, when they know forage quality is truly poor, they may actually cube on top of using a cook tub. So a little difference there in technology. The other product that we don't have on display here would be our AccuRation Liquid. That would also be a very popular product. If you can apply it in your particular management situation, it provides very good bang for your buck, and they do have that product here available. So again, let's kind of get into some of those questions,
Okay.
and we'll try to provide some answers along the way. And again, if you ever have any questions, don't ever hesitate to ask Janice there at the counter, to get a hold of me. We can provide that kind of contact information here at the end of the program, and people can contact us directly.
Okay. So the first question is from Rick McBride. What amount of protein is required during summer months for mature cows?
Well, Rick, that truly is kind of a very open-ended question, because depending on if we have dry cows, maybe cows that calved in the fall and we weaned a calf here in March, or if we have lactating cows, cows that had calves in the spring and won't be weaned until maybe late summer or early fall. So I'm just going to take one example just to relate kind of some of that information that maybe Rick's kind of asking about. So if we had a fall calving cow, like let's just say a 1,200 pound kind of typical cow here in the hill country, and we weaned a calf in March, Janice, that cow's requirements right now are as low as they're ever going to be in her stages of production. So that cow needs about 1.5 pounds of protein and about 10 pounds of total digestible nutrients every day. And so based on some recent forage samples that I took, some not only improved but native forages were kind of running in the 10 to 12% protein range and around the mid-50s in terms of TDN. That cow, if we're not overstocked and we have ample forage available for her, all of her needs would be currently met in terms of protein and energy supplementation. Really, the only thing that cow needs right now is just a good quality Purina Wind and Rain mineral out in front and available at all times. So from a protein and energy standpoint, that dry cow that we weaned a calf here in March, again, if we're not overstocked and we have ample forage available to her, and we've gotten some of these rains over the past 30 days like most of the hill country has, her protein and energy needs should be met.
Okay. And then I have another question from Olin Tisdale. How many pounds of protein can you feed per head, one-time efficiency?
Boy, Olin is one of those guys that once you meet him one time, you never forget him. He's kind of a unique character to run into at a store. And I run into Olin up and down the road from here to San Saba on the different places that he has and that he manages for his own personal operation. And again, Olin, that kind of is a little bit of an open-ended question, but we'll try to address it with just kind of looking at maybe two different products. So the main thing that we're concerned about when you're hand feeding a supplement, maybe such as a cube, is how much of it do you feed at one time such that we don't cause a major shift in pH in the rumen, Janice. We don't want to cause a shift below 6.2 such that we start hindering what the microbes do in terms of forage digestion. So if we simply look at something like a 20% cube, that cube is kind of a combination of protein and energy. So there's some starch and there's some digestible fibers in there. So if we feed above 5 or 6 pounds of that 20% cube at one time, we are going to start affecting pH in the rumen. And so that would kind of be an upper end of what we would recommend on feeding a 20% cube. Now, Janice, if we're going to use a high protein cube, like a cottonseed cube, where we're really just supplying protein, cattle are really good at recycling that protein in their system. So in the instance of a high protein cube, we could feed more of it. We could feed more of it fewer times a week, and that cow still being very efficient at recycling that protein and utilizing that. So, Olin, I hope that kind of answers your question. Again, it does kind of go back to the type of supplement that we're going to use, and those are just kind of two examples of cube type products maybe we're referring to.
Okay. And then Michael Smith, Jeff, he has a question: is how much does it cost to feed protein?
So as we're kind of just looking at supplements that we have right here in front of us, the current retail price here at Lochte Feed on their AccuRation high fat tub for cattle is like $74.95, so about $75 a tub. The Rangeland Cook tub, that's a 225 pound tub, and it's currently being retailed at about $104. So if I just look at those, and again, depending on the time of year, but if we get into this midsummer and things kind of dry out and cows kind of go to these supplements a little bit more, if we're looking at maybe a pound and a quarter to a pound and a half on this product fed on a year-round basis, you're looking at about 45 to 50 cents a day if he'll utilize that product on a year-round basis. On the Rangeland product, consumption's going to be a little more consistent. That's a very palatable product that, again, consumption's truly only limited by the hardness of it. So consumption's going to typically be around 3/4 to a pound of that product, and based on the cost of it, you're looking at, again, around 46 cents for about a 3/4 to a pound of consumption of that product.
Okay. And I have another question for you. This one comes from Lewis Ray, and his question is: how much protein is in an AccuRation tub?
So that's a little more cut and dry. That's an easier question to answer. So those AccuRation high-fat tubs, whether we're talking about the cattle product in this red tub here in front of me, or the purple sheep and goat tub, those are both 25% protein, 10% fat products.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. We've got a couple of more questions here. One of them's from Gary Little. Like that. Sorry, I pronounced his last name wrong. But it's: how many tubs does it take to feed 16 Longhorns?
So typically on these tub type products, we would recommend trying to use a tub per, maybe 15 to 20 cows. In the situation of Longhorns, where we may be dealing with some competitive situations, just due to the nature of having Longhorns, maybe we'd like to reduce that. So, with 16 head, I'd suggest, why don't we try to use 2 tubs and probably place them in different parts of the pasture, such that we kind of reduce some of that competition that we may see just due to the nature of the animals that we're talking about there.
Okay. And this one's from Dr. Amy Jo Palmer. In this summer, with good fertilized green coastal, 12 acres, 2 cows and 2 calves, what is the best way to keep weight on the cows?
Well, luckily, Dr. Pilmer, we've had probably some better rainfall, again in May and June, and it's kind of kept that forage base kind of going for you there. And if you did fertilize it, hopefully we're getting some good use of that fertilizer this year. Again, that wouldn't necessarily be an overstock situation on improved forages where we do get adequate rainfall like we've had recently. And so again, those cows that are lactating, they do have a higher requirement. And again, when this forage quality is up there, maybe 12 or 13% because it was fertilized, and we've gotten some good recent rainfalls, we're probably pretty close to meeting those cows' need. The simplest way to see if we're not meeting those cows' need would be to introduce the AccuRation tub. And if we see that those cows really start trying to bump it, then we know our forage quality isn't quite as good as we may anticipate, or even the eye thinks it is. But again, we should be very close. We could be just a little shy depending on the lactation requirements of those cows, if they're higher lactating cows or if they're still kind of in peak lactation.
Okay. And then I got a question from Timmy Dortez, and that is there Is there an advantage to using natural protein over NPN?
Good question, Janice. We get that all the time as people evaluate labels. And I just want to kind of reemphasize the rumen bugs don't have a need for a specific amount on the label. They don't actually eat the label, Janice, do they? No.
I hope
But
you don't.
but we're gonna feed those bugs correctly. So the bugs need ammonia, they need energy, and they need mineral. And so there's different ways that we can supply ammonia to those bugs. And so a very efficient way to supply some ammonia to the bugs is through some non-protein nitrogen, through some use of urea. And when formulated correctly and when formulated with some energy at the same time, it's a very efficient utilization of a protein source. So again, in terms of what the bugs get out of that protein source, it truly doesn't matter. You do have to have that NPN, that non-protein nitrogen urea source, formulated correctly and formulated in combination with energy and in a controlled manner such that we don't overconsume the product.
Okay. So what is the best time to put out when you have sheep and cows in the same pasture together?
No, okay, another good question. So the thing that we're concerned about with sheep would be copper. And obviously cattle need copper. They truly need some copper in their diet. And there may be some varying thoughts by sheep producers on maybe some breeds of sheep can actually utilize some copper. But from a legal perspective, we know that copper can be toxic to sheep. And so we'd ideally like to feed a product that doesn't have added copper in it. And so the safest thing to use when you do have mixed herds like that would be the purple Accuration sheep and goat tub, which could also be utilized for cattle, or the rangeland sheep and goat tub. That's a 23% cooked tub that could also be used in a mixed herd situation like that. The same would hold true when we talk about mineral. If we have mixed herds of sheep and cattle, we'd probably like to recommend using the Purina Wind and Rain sheep mineral. Again, the only thing that we're not going to get there would be some copper that the cattle need. But again, that would be the safest products to recommend in mixed herd scenarios like that.
Okay. And the next question comes from Rick Behrens. Why feed protein when I'm already feeding cubes, and what's the benefit?
So Rick, if you're already feeding cubes and you're doing that maybe a few times a week, I'm not going to say that there's going to be a big benefit to applying one of these type of self-fed type products. If your cows are in good body condition, and cubes are something that you're already kind of currently using, you have the time, the labor, and you're able to get out there several times a week to do that, that's certainly fine. Now, if we're using cubes maybe once a week, just kind of as a treat to kind of seed cows or to pen cows, then we're probably going to get into a time of year in July and August when we are going to be short some protein and energy. And so we either need to increase that cube frequency or introduce a product that'll meet the demand of the diminishing forage and allow those cows to eat some of the supplement and to provide all the cows some supplement. Because, Janice, we certainly know that when we pour cubes out, they don't necessarily stop at the first pile we poured. They continue to walk over the top of them. And some cows are going to get more, and some of the more timid younger cows aren't going to get what they need. So again, that's kind of the value sometimes in some of these self-fed products is we provide access to the entire herd 24/7 where individual cows are able to access it when they need it.
Okay, good. Mark Cornett has a question, and that is, what is a good supplement tub for weaned calves in native pasture?
So that's a good question, and a lot of times when we talk about these supplements, they're truly formulated for brood cow supplementation. And we talk about younger animals, sometimes they're just not going to consume enough of them to maybe make a big change in nutrition that they're actually taking in. But maybe some suggestions to think about. I have had good feedback from some guys that have used the Accuration block with developing heifers. You get kind of a 6-7 weight heifer, and we can probably get around a half to 3/4 of a pound of consumption on the block product because they have better access around to it. Where As the tub product, you only have access to the top of it, Janice. But that block product, when we take the cardboard off, it allows better access around the edges. So those younger cattle can hopefully eat a little bit more of it to hopefully get enough nutrition in them to make a difference. The other product that we could recommend if we're not hand feeding something out there would be our Purina Stress Tub. It's kind of a combination tub of protein and minerals. It actually uses Zenpro's Avela-4 package because we're trying to get a full dose of that Avela-4 in wean cattle. So that's the Purina Stress Tub would be another idea to utilize in that situation.
Okay. And then I think this is our last question, and it's from Donnie Shoes. What's the best protein tub for sheep?
So Janice, we kind of covered that a little bit earlier, and the Purina AccuRation sheep and goat tub was introduced about 2 years ago now, and that product has gone over extremely well. Some producers have had a little bit of limitation in the idea of it being in a tub and maybe thinking that those sheep and goat can't access that product. Well, one management tip if you're concerned about that, Janice, is you can simply tip that tub over and that product will actually fall out. And you can apply it that way and allow those sheep and goats access to it if you're concerned about the height of that tub. But to be quite honest, guys that have utilized the purple sheep and goat tub have been very pleased with it. We really haven't gotten a lot of feedback from guys feeling like the animals couldn't access the product. When it gets down lower, a lot of times those animals will tip them there on their side to be able to continue to get in there. But again, if you have that concern, just tip the product over to begin with. It won't melt. It won't fade away like a cooked tub would. That'll kind of melt that product to hold its form. And again, if that's a concern of yours, utilize it that way.
And what was the fat content in that tub?
It's a 10% fat, and so providing that high fat content is really good at helping body condition and then also helping reproductive performance, because fat is a precursor to getting hormones cycling correctly and getting cattle and sheep and goats to cycle. So we've really found that to be a big benefit in our research, is being able to provide an extra boost of energy, not only from body condition score but also from a reproductive efficiency standpoint.
Okay. Well, that was the end of our questions. And so we have a drawing. I wanted to tell everybody thank you for asking these questions and participating in this. So we're going to do a drawing for a door prize.
And then Janice, I think for anybody that views this, we are also offering, if you come into the store through the end of July, you're offering a little promotion for anybody that mentions what?
If they mention that they watched the video today, you get a $1 off of mineral.
So bag, wind and rain mineral, whether it's for cattle or the sheep product.
That's correct. You'll get $1 off of that. Or if you want to get the wind and rain mineral tubs, fly control or not fly control, you get $5 off of a tub.
And we'll do that on up to a ton of product of a one-time purchase.
Up to the end of July.
So through July. Good job.
That's right. But you've got to mention the video in order to get the benefit of $1 off or $5 off the tub.
Okay.
Do you want to draw?
So we're going to do a little drawing. What are we drawing for here?
We are going to draw for a AccuRation tub.
So this is for people that submitted a question?
That submitted a question, yes.
Okay, good. There you go.
And the winner is Donnie Shoe.
So come into Lochte Feed and Janice will get you fixed up with your free Purina AccuRation tub.
That's correct.
Thank you for your question, Donnie.
So remember, watch us either on our Facebook page or go to lochtefeed@yahoo.com. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at lochtefeed@yahoo.com or ask the questions on our Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you.